Hey there, colleague. How in the world are you doing? I want to share with you a message I got from one of our colleagues, Michael M. in Escondido, California. Take a look at what he says. This is about boundaries and colleagues not respecting them, and I think it's important for us to talk about. He says, Dave, your promise to focus just on these 6 things and to set boundaries for work is refreshing in a world where the expectation from society, admin, and peers is to be on call at all hours. But what do you do when the PLC team you're on or the school/community you serve does not recognize or respect those boundaries? Of course, there are special circumstances that challenge these boundaries, but what about the colleague that does their collaboration during the witching hours? I've experienced teams in which many of them have requested meetings and communication on weekends, holidays, or late at night. How would you handle this? Well, first of all, I love the question from Michael, and I love that he's thinking about this critically, because these are the types of things that if we just allow the defaults to exist, then our life is going to become the default, and the default in contemporary society is not a very good life. It's a super rushed, frenetic, crazy one that's devoid of purpose. It's kind of dark, Dave. It must be that time of the afternoon. So here's a concept that I think can really help. Sandcastle boundaries versus Himalaya boundaries. So sandcastle boundaries, I think, are what we often create. We say things like, okay, a boundary I have this year is I'm not going to work at home, or a boundary I have this year is I'm not going to check my email at night. I'm going to turn my phone off when I get home from work. Like those are boundaries. Those are good boundaries. But the thing is, they're sandcastle boundaries because we don't actually do anything really rigorous to make sure that the boundaries hold. And so when the wave of real life comes in, the colleague who only wants to collaborate at 11 p.m., the people who want meetings on the weekends, when that comes in, our good intentions get laid to waste and the beach goes back to its normal form. Okay, so we want to take those boundaries that we set, those rules that we set for ourselves, super important discipline for time management is to have simple rules like this, and we want to Himalayatize them. Yeah, Himalayatize them. The Himalayan mountain range has been around for all of human history, and it's such a boundary to South Asia that the culture of South Asia has these super distinct characteristics that no other culture really has. And a lot of that has to simply do with the Himalayan mountain range. We want to create stuff that just no one can get by. The world cannot cross. For example, if you don't want to work after 5 o'clock at night, make it impossible to work at 5 o'clock at night. Don't bring the stack of papers home. Then you will not grade them when you really want to be connecting with your wife or enjoying a glass of wine, says the guy who recently committed this grave sin of bringing papers home. If a lot of the work you do is on the computer, you may need to do things like keep your work computer at work, or if you don't have a computer that's different for work and at home, place some of those time-sensitive blockers that you can get on like Google Chrome that make it impossible to access, like your work Google Drive folder after 5 p.m. at night. Or just don't get on your computer in the evening time. Find other things that you'd like to do, like reading a book or taking a walk or watching a movie on TV. Or doing some basket weaving. What we're trying to do is make it impossible to work at home. But Dave, won't that cause consequences? Like what if I have a bunch of stuff that I need to get done the next day? Believe it or not, you actually want negative consequences to come of the rules that you set, the boundaries that you set for yourself. You want negative consequences to come because those will be your best teachers for time management. It's when you go into your class the day after you didn't get all your planning done and have to experience a poorly planned lesson, have to experience apologizing to your students that you didn't get their papers done. That's when you realize, okay, I can find more time during my day. I can waste less time when I'm at work and get more done so that I can enjoy my life more fully when I'm not working. Okay, but if you don't let those bad things happen, if you have weak little sandcastle boundaries, then you're just always going to bail yourself out when you fail. And I say that with love as a guy who has failed a lot at time management. Okay, so what about Michael? He's got colleagues reaching out to him. If I was Michael, I'd have my phone off at 8 o'clock at night. I would not have my phone on, or I would put it on airplane mode or something to make sure that I am not getting any text messages in the evening. If it's the kind of thing where I need to be texting with other people in the evening time, then I would just simply make a rule for myself that I'm going to ignore what my colleagues say. But do you see how that's starting to get sandcastle-y? It's just way better if you can be more hardcore and just say, no one will die if I don't text anyone after 8 p.m. every night. That will not result in a world-class emergency. Again, there's going to be exceptions, so you have to figure out your Himalaya rules. Same thing with email. I don't have email on my phone. If I want to check my email on my phone, I have to go into a browser and it's super awkward and inconvenient. So I just am not tempted to check it. And I also try not to be on electronics at night when I'm home with my family, unless we're like going to watch a movie together or do something like that. But I don't want to have my laptop out at night because my laptop it's a workish laptop. Okay, and there might be relational costs to this. The colleague who really wants to collaborate 11 p.m., they might be a little bit miffed. They might say you're not a good team player. But if you're going to have a sane teacher's life where you maximize your impact without costing your sanity, you're going to have to probably make a few people unhappy with you. And honestly, Michael, you're doing a favor to those folks when you don't respond to them and at nighttime, when you don't meet with them on the weekends. You're doing a favor to them because probably they're making things more complicated than they need to be. I mean, sometimes we collaborate too much, and I know I'm an introvert, so that's probably a lot of bias coming in there. This is all just food for thought. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear. If you appreciate this kind of stuff, click like. That helps me to know what types of videos to make for you, things to give you to think about. And I've got a time management course and a seminar below, so you can see details about that in the links. All right? Cheers, take care. I'll talk to you next time.